Now it's time to get into our actual role, and that is to call our speaker today and enjoy the workshop. So before we call our speaker to start, let me introduce our speaker for those who are not met her, those who don't know her. So our speaker is with us. You can see the smiley face on the screen. Accredited speaker, distinguished Toastmaster Dale Risbiwan. She's a speaker, she's a trainer, she's certified world-class speaking coach. And if you're looking for any coach opportunity, she's always there. And I'll definitely be approaching her as well for myself. She's president of Speakers Bank Australia. She loves languages. So one day we'll teach her Arabic or Blushi language. She learns learning, and she believes combining the languages and the laughter together, it makes the life more beautiful. In 2017, our speaker was semi-finalist at the World Champion of Public Speaking in Vancouver. She reached to that level. Over the past 20 years, Dale has set up public speaking programs and has spoken at conferences and events globally, not only in Australia, beyond Australia. Dale's success as a speaker and trainer is due not only to her years of experience and expertise, but is the passion with which she approaches each and every engagement and assignment she conducts. If you have passion and you have interest, you have the knowledge, you have the skill, you have the accreditation on top of it, nothing can beat it. And that's what our speaker, distinguished Toastmaster and accredited speaker Dale brings with her. Now, in the applause from all of you, let's welcome our speaker, Dale Rees. Floor is yours.
Thank you so much. And I really appreciate the invitation to come and share my journey with you and share some information about the Accredited Speaker Program. It's a real pleasure to be here with you. I trust that my sound's coming through clearly enough for you all. Great, that's always a good start. And I very much look forward to sharing this information tonight. I thought it was very interesting that Toastmaster Jabri said he first heard about it in 2013, because I'm pretty sure that's round about when I first became aware of the Accredited Speaker Program as well. I was already working professionally as a speaker and trainer and doing a lot of work in various organizations. And one of our Toastmasters, her name's Juliana Jamal, actually came up to me and she said, "I think you're going to be Australia's first accredited speaker." As it turned out, she was wrong. She was a little bit ambitious on my behalf. Greg Van Borsen was the first Australian accredited speaker, but I am proud to say I'm the first woman who got the accredited speaker designation in Australia. So we were heading for the right direction. Okay, I'm going to share my slides now and talk you through the pathways to accredited speaker. So what does accredited speaker mean and how do you get there? If you go to the Toastmasters International website, you will see these words. The Accredited Speaker Program is designed to give professional speakers, so in other words, people who are already earning a living through speaking or training, a competitive edge by having their talents recognized by Toastmasters International. So today, what I'd like to do is work through those 3 key points in the definition and show you what that means in terms of achieving accredited speaker designation. So professional speakers getting a competitive edge through the designation and how specifically you go about getting recognized by Toastmasters International. I think the first point that's really important is to understand that the accredited speaker recognizes people who are earning a living through speaking, or are at least getting a number of professionally paid assignments. It's not just the next pathways level. It's not something that is simply the next step in your Toastmasters journey. So for some people, if you're working in a job that you're perfectly satisfied with, and this is not something that is going to form part of your career, then this designation is not going to actually mean anything to you. It's for people who want to have their work recognized. So if you're giving professional talks, if you're accumulating a number of speaking engagements, then it's a pathway for you to consider. And I think it's really important to understand that distinction. Some people seem to have it in their minds that it's like DTM, it's just the next level. I just want to be absolutely clear on the difference with this. It's an honor that Toastmasters International confers upon people who are speaking professionally to say, we endorse the level of your speaking. And there are a couple of ways that happens. And thank you so much. I've just had a cup of tea delivered so that my voice can stay nice and smooth while I'm speaking to you. Hot drinks are always good for the vocal cords. A couple of things that take place for that application to be successful. On the one hand, you've got the application, and I will talk you through that process in its step-by-step format. But the other side is you, as I said, you will have already created your speaking career. The judges will be checking on your background. What does your LinkedIn profile look like? How many posts have you been putting up? Have they been supporting your brand or your topic? And remember, different people speak professionally on a wide range of different topics. So they would be going through your LinkedIn profile. Are you supporting your topics? Are you providing interesting information, curating articles that are relevant and valid to your message? They'll also be having a look at your website. Is it a professional website? Does it show your brand to good advantage? So, and any other collateral you might have. So if you have an Instagram account, they would go and look at that. If you have a Facebook account and you're putting up pictures and messages to support, again, they would be looking at that. So something that is worth considering is, what is your digital footprint in terms of you as a speaker? What are you putting out there that when the judges do their research, supports you as the kind of professional that they're willing to consider? Now, the reason I mention this is because something I was not aware of when I applied, but found out afterwards, is that not every application even gets to level 1. In other words, people send in their applications, a panel will look at what they've submitted, and if all of these things aren't in place to their satisfaction, they won't even look at your level 1 video. So there's almost like a pre-level 1 requirement that you have to pass to be considered worth the judge's time. If they're going to watch an hour video of yours, they need to be satisfied that this is going to be worth their investment. So then the level 1 application process starts. Now, all of the information that I'm going to give you today, and if you're like me, you'll like receiving information in bite-sized chunks that you can listen to. That's how I learn best. I like things broken down in a nice, clear way. But if you would like to, at some point, go and research it in more detail and get all the handouts and documentation, I've put this up there just so that you can see exactly where to find it. When you log in as a Toastmaster, if you go to the membership tag, you'll see what pops up is membership, and on the far right is the accredited speaker button. And that's where you'll get the accredited speaker handbook, you'll get the judging form, you'll get all the application forms, everything that you need to go through the accredited speaker process. So you will no longer need me. If anyone wants to leave now, that's fine. You know where to find all the information. But if you would still like it in bite-sized chunks and hear a little bit about the accredited speaker journey, then stick around and I'll tell you some more. So the level 1 application, in order to progress, you need to be a Toastmaster in good standing. It's a Toastmasters award. They're not going to give it to anyone who doesn't have that membership. You need to have completed one path in Pathways in its entirety, or be an ATM bronze. Do any of you remember back in the day, the ATM system? That was from a long time ago, or an ACL bronze, or advanced communicator bronze, I think it is. I might have put the designation incorrectly there. And then from a professional speaking point of view, you have to have evidence of 25 speaking engagements with audiences of a minimum of 20 people. Now, this is quite important because a lot of people do coaching, and there are a lot of people who get very involved in public speaking groups that they're getting paid for, but it's not 20 people. It's individual coaching that they're getting paid for. That does not qualify you as a professional speaker. That's a coach. So getting the right numbers is sometimes a challenge. And that was actually something that I ended up having to call on some of my unpaid engagements, because although I do get a lot of work, sometimes the groups that I work with are 10 or 15, not 20, whereas I had quite a number of voluntary engagements which had audiences of 80 to 100. And these are for business professionals or accounting professionals, the sort of industry groups. But I would do that as a voluntary thing, mainly because it led to a lot of paid work with individuals asking for coaching afterwards. So it was worth my while to do that. But it didn't qualify for, but the individual coaching doesn't qualify for a speaking engagement. So 25 speaking engagements, 15 of them you have to have been paid for. You can use 10 unpaid speaking engagements as long as all the audiences are over 20. And then you will fill out a form as part of the application that gives the date, the number of attendees, the length of the presentation, and there might be a couple more details you need to fill in, but that's in essence what you need to provide and submit as your evidence of being a professional speaker. Alongside with that, you need to submit a video that is a minimum of 20 minutes in length and a maximum of 60 minutes. And it must be a video filmed in front of a live audience. It can be virtual. So if you were all not Toastmasters and I was being paid to give you a presentation, this would qualify. It must be one of your paid engagements. It can't be one of your not-for-profit ones. So it needs to be a professional engagement. It cannot be edited. And I've heard stories of people who have submitted videos and the judges have watched it and seen a little jump in it and realized that it's been edited and it's been disqualified. So you cannot send in an edited video. It needs to be raw footage from start to finish, and it needs to include a professional introduction. And that's part of what they'll judge you on, is how well your introduction's been crafted and how professional it is, and how well it sets you up as someone worth listening to. And on the side there, I've put the judging form. That's what they would be looking at. And again, if you go back to the website where I showed you all the information is, you can get the judging forms for both level 1 and level 2. So you can see exactly what it is that they're looking for when they watch your level 1 video, and when they decide to see you at level 2. Okay, I'm seeing quite a few points coming up in the chat. I hope you don't mind. I'll hold over until the end before I answer any questions, but maybe if you could make a note and we'll talk about them then. The level 1 application also includes 5 clients sending a form to Toastmasters International, and they need to be clients for whom you've delivered paid engagements. And the form has a whole lot of questions. It's things like, what did they speak on? Who was the audience? What was the brief? What did they do? What do you feel your audience got from the talk? It's those sort of questions. Basically, in essence, they're saying, was this person worth it? And your client will answer all the questions and send that in. Now, part of the instruction for those letters is that you don't get to see it. They don't copy you into that. The client sends it directly to headquarters. If you've got a very good relationship with your client, they might blind copy you in so that you can see what they said about you. But the practice is that the accredited speaker program wants to be getting this directly from the client. All right, so again, if you need to refer back to the website, you'll find all of that information there, along with the client forms, so you can actually see all the questions that would be asked, and you can download them there to start collecting them from your clients. One thing I would recommend is, if you are in a position where you're already doing professional speaking and you're gearing up to do it, I would say about 6 months before you send the application in, start collecting your client forms, because clients are busy. You are not their sole priority in their lives. They might take a little while to get around to it. I was very lucky. I had wonderful clients who did it almost immediately and sent them off straight away. But just in case you need to chase up, and you might even end up in a position where possibly one client just doesn't get round to it, or says they'll do it and they get too busy, or they lose their job and then they've got other things to focus on or whatever. And you might need to find someone else to do it for you. So make sure that you haven't left that to the last minute. So as a recap, one video of a paid speaking engagement, 20 to 60 minutes, 5 client recommendations, 25 speaking engagements, 15 of them paid, and make sure that you've got a clear, established brand, and that's very obvious for anyone who does a little bit of background research. So that's what I did. I collected everything, got my client recommendations, got my video done, recorded it. I will say I was not thrilled with the video that I ended up using. And again, for anyone considering applying for this, for me, finding the right video was the hardest part of the whole application. And the reason is there are a lot of clients who don't want their workshops recorded. It's their staff. Remember, if you're working with a corporate or an organization, they don't necessarily want a video camera stuck there and people, strangers going to be viewing what they're doing. You might have a sensitive speaking topic where, again, that's not something that they want recorded and shared with other people. So it's not always that easy to get the video done. And I definitely, I struggled with that, getting the right opportunity to find that speaking engagement. But I did get it set up, and I ran a workshop and did a recording and sent it all in, and I was declined. I was absolutely devastated when I got the email saying you will not be progressing to level 2. Now, at the time, I was in a Toastmasters club called Keystone, which is actually operates in Canada. And there's a man there by the name of Michael Bayer, who some of you will know is now the current chair of the Accredited Speaker Program. And when I didn't make it, he called me up and he said, Dale, I had to try 4 times before I made it past level 1. And part of the advice that he was given was, so Michael actually does a lot of work in lean consulting. He goes and he works in hospitals in America and shows them how to cut their costs. Some of you might be familiar with lean manufacturing and the concept of lean. And he had a successful professional speaking business, but they didn't accept what he had done for the Accredited Speaker Program. And someone took him aside and said, don't try and do something to satisfy the judges. Just do what you do. Just give the talks that you give. And that's what he did. And he ended up getting the accredited speaker designation based purely on being authentic, being real, showing a demonstration of his work. Now, one of the big learnings for me was I realized that when I did that first video that I sent in, I was trying so hard to be more of a speaker, because when I give workshops, I tend to be quite interactive and ask people what they think and chat with them, which I know you're not seeing now, so you probably won't find it easy to believe that. But my typical workshops, I'm bouncing off people and getting ideas and sharing with them, which you will see next month when we do the next session. I wasn't doing that in the video that I submitted first, because I had this idea that the judges were looking for someone who just spoke. So I just spoke. And you know what the feedback was? We would have liked to have seen more interaction. We would have liked to have seen more engagement with the audience. So when I applied the second time, I thought, you know what, this time I'm not going to try and guess what's in the minds of the judges. I'm not going to try and predict what it is that they want. I'm just going to be me and do what I do. And that time it worked. So a year later, I sent in the video, and this is the email that I got. More excitingly for me was they announced that the convention was going to be in the Bahamas. So if I'd like to go and present for level 2, that's where it would have to be. Oh no, I had to go to the Bahamas. So that was a wonderful, wonderful experience. If any of you happen to have watched the Accredited Speaker Showcase that year, this is the 3 of us who managed to make it through. There were 4 applicants that year, but only, sadly, only 3 of us actually got the designation. I thought it might be fun. I don't know if this would be of interest to you, just to share what my experience was like doing the accredited speaker showcase at the second level. I'm getting one nod. That's all the encouragement I need. So obviously being in the Bahamas was an incredible experience just as a trip away, but meeting everyone there and meeting the other accredited speakers, we formed some very special friendships. The actual showcase is really well run. You're given 18 minutes and they are so precise about it. One of the things they tell you when you're about to go up is part of what you're going to be judged on by the other accredited speakers. Remember, all the judges are accredited speakers. So it's professional speakers judging professional speakers. Part of one of the questions that they asked in the judging form is, would you like to share a platform with this speaker? In other words, if you were at an event, would you like to be on the same billing? And if you go over time, they're going to be looking at you going, yeah, if I end up at the same event as you, you're going to speak for longer than you should, and I'm probably going to have to cut my talk short. So that's all about professionalism. Do you take as much time as you feel like taking, or do you stick to the brief and time it exactly? Now, I'm one of those very nervous people who, if you tell me I've got to speak for 18 minutes, it's 18 minutes on the dot because I'm terrified of upsetting someone. So when I did my presentation, I was so conscious of time. And again, I don't know if any of you have watched my talk, but those of you, thank you. Some of you have, and I know Ramani was there. So you'll remember that I actually got interrupted during my talk. Someone got very excited by the questions I was asking and decided to have a little conversation with me in the middle of my talk, which was fine. You know, I just said to him, let's talk about this later, and carried on with my talk. But because it had caused that little bit of a break, all that was going through in the back of my mind, and the other thing was people were laughing a lot more than I expected. With a bigger audience, it takes longer to get over the laughs. So in the back of my mind was constantly, I need to cut this, I need to cut this. So there were things at the end that I ended up just going, okay, I'm not going to say that bit, and wrap it up at the end. And again, as a professional speaker, that's part of what you're expected to be able to do, is think on the fly and go, all right, I need to regroup and recalibrate. So thankfully, I managed to make it in. I think my talk ended up being about 18.5 minutes or something. So it was fine. A wonderful feeling. This is straight after the showcase, immediately after. And I think you can see from the reactions that everyone had, it looked like it had been successful. And what happens now, and this is something they don't tell you at the convention, this is a little bit of a secret between you and me now, is they send you off for a little while to go and have a drink, a cocktail by the sea, which is what we did. And then they call the speakers in one by one to the judges and tell them right away. So within an hour of the showcase, we knew whether we had passed or not. Nobody else does. They only announce it the following night after the World Championship. So we had to sit on that information and not tell anyone. Once we were told, we were then ushered off for an interview, which was very exciting and daunting and kind of surreal, because we'd just found out that we'd received it, and suddenly we had these cameras in our face and someone asking us all these questions, and all I could think was, I'm so glad I didn't have cocktails with alcohol in, because I don't know what I would have said under those circumstances. And then, of course, the following night, the official announcement was made that we'd received it. And those are our numbers. So Verity Price was 91, Stephanie Angelo 92, and I was 93. And as I said, we formed a very close friendship. And now when we message each other through WhatsApp, we sign off with our numbers. Bye from 92 or bye from 93. And that's what we call each other affectionately. It's our little in-joke. One of the things that was going on in the background, which a lot of people weren't aware of, is my stepfather was dying of cancer while this was happening. And at one point, it was very much touch and go, whether I would even go to the Bahamas to present. And he said to me about 2 weeks before, I had to make a decision. He said to me, I want you to go and I want you to get it. Just make sure you get it. So this is them watching. My husband took this photo while I was talking. This is them watching the live streaming of the accredited speaker video. And I was able to phone him almost straight afterwards and say, I got it, but I'm not allowed to tell anyone else. So he had prior information. And sadly passed away a couple months after that. But in terms of what the accredited speaker means to me, it was really special to be able to do that for him, and that he knew that that was something I had achieved. So we talked about the 3 things that the definition gives us from the website. It's about acknowledging professional speakers, giving them a competitive edge in being recognized by Toastmasters. So I've showed you how to get the accredited speaker. Something that I'm asked quite a bit is, what has it done for you? Now, obviously, from a personal perspective, I've already shared with you that it meant a lot to me. My stepdad was always a very high achiever and wanted his children to always be doing the absolute best. So for him, that was a very exciting moment. What I've noticed is that people going for individual coaching, and these are people who aren't necessarily involved in Toastmasters at all, so professionals looking to improve their speaking. I had someone from Japan who was looking to get venture capital and partnerships. He contacted me. And one of the first things he said was, when he was looking for a coach, I was the only one that had accredited speaker out of the ones that he found. So that's why he chose me. So in terms of that competitive edge, yes, on occasion it has made a difference. I noticed that when immediately after getting it, there were some people who contacted me through LinkedIn and said, I've been thinking of getting some training for my team. Would you be available? So it's a way of giving that extra little bit of marketing, making the announcement and showing that you've achieved something. In terms of existing clients, I have had a couple of experiences where I've put in the introduction, first woman in Australia to get the accredited speaker designation. And I have noticed that people kind of sit up, like, oh, maybe we should listen to this person. So again, even though they might not necessarily understand what Toastmasters is or appreciate what it means, there's that scarcity element. I think as human beings, we're conditioned to sort of think if it's rare, it must be something special. So it's worked from that point of view. So that's being the only woman in Australia, that stood me in good stead. And then recently I was approached by someone who said she wanted me to come in and speak to her boss, and he was looking for someone to do some ad hoc training for his company. It's a law firm, and he wanted someone to deliver workshops, a little bit of content training, various things that he was looking for. So she showed him my accredited speaker video. And apparently once he watched that, he decided this was absolutely the person he wanted to do his training. So he was very excited to meet me, and we had a wonderful, wonderful chat. So I'll be doing some work for him in the next month, where we're setting up some workshops that he won. So that's been valuable. I was kind of laughing when all that came out, and thought, well, that kind of justifies the investment of a trip to the Bahamas. Finally, a return on investment. Getting my money back there. So those are the elements of having the accredited speaker that I think are worth noting. I'm going to have a quick look at the questions that are popping up, where there are obviously things I haven't explained clearly, and then if there are any other things people want to ask, we can work our way through those. Khalid, you had your hand up. Did you want to say something first, or are you happy for me to go to the questions?
You can go to the questions which you have received directly in the public chat, but there are people who also send chat directly to me, which I'll be asking.
Okay, all right, lovely. So the first one I can see here is, are the 5 clients necessarily Toastmasters? Definitely not. The clients must be companies or organizations who have paid you to do something for them. Whether it's a workshop, whether it's a day training. And I should probably clarify, with the speaking engagements, they are quite relaxed about the definition there. So it doesn't have to be, I don't know about you, but when I think speaker, it tends to be more conference speaker, like a keynote speaker. It doesn't have to be that. In fact, 90% of my work, I actually don't do a lot of conference speaking. I've done some, but 90% of my work is training. So a day's training, or a workshop, or a breakout session at a conference. And those are all absolutely valid for the accredited speaker speaking engagement definition. That's fine. Does it apply for members who have just completed P4 speeches? When you say 15 paid. Okay, lots of questions here. All right, so you need to have completed a pathway, is my understanding, but I would refer to the handbook and clarify there exactly what that means. But I think it means having finished one of the pathways to the end. Not non-Toastmasters audience and not your place of work. Does it include, so speaking at a conference, yes, not stand-up comedy. I don't think that would qualify. Giving a workshop, yes. Speaking at an NGO, if they've paid you to do the work, yes. Although 10 of your engagements can be non-paid. So if that's where you've given a few workshops and you didn't get paid, that could still help you with your getting your 25. Okay, so I'll hand over to Toastmaster Jalal to field the questions if you've got some other ones.
Yeah, before I ask questions, there's a question which was about the place where you actually can deliver speeches. It's definitely not the Toastmaster clubs or Toastmaster audience. Correct me, DTM Dale, if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
It has to be non-Toastmaster audience,
Yeah.
majority.
So even if it's not paid, it still needs to be outside of Toastmasters. So for example, in Australia, we have an organization called Probus, which is professional business people. So it's retired people who are still looking for mental stimulation, and they run workshops. I do quite a few talks for them about memory, and they love it because they're all nervous about getting Alzheimer's and going senile. So it's actually quite a funny talk on how to keep your mind active and train your memory and that sort of thing. And I've done loads of those, and those are usually audiences of 60 to 80. So quite a few of those qualified as my unpaid work. Accounting bodies have organizations where they have industry talks for continued professional development. So I often talk there. IT groups, same thing. They have industry groups. And then not-for-profit charities, those sort of things. If someone asks you to give a talk and you feel like being nice, you can go and do it there. So anything like that qualifies for your unpaid work. Unfortunately, for the accredited speaker program, Toastmasters it's like they don't exist. This is all about what can you do outside of Toastmasters.
I think there's two things outside in this program. One is non-Toastmaster. Second, it shouldn't be the workplace where you're working, shouldn't be your company employees. So for example,
That's
like
correct.
it's not that I pull in 20 audience from my company employees and give some workshops to them. That is not counted as well. It has to be public.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
now let's go to the questions which are sent to me in private chat. Is there any minimum duration requirement, which you mentioned 20 to 60 minutes, but since the question is sent to me, I have to read it out. Is there a minimum duration requirement besides the number of audience? So I think it's minimum 20 minutes, maximum 60 minutes, and 20
No, that's for your video.
Okay.
So if you're giving talks to, let's say,
45 minutes.
a Bank of Bahrain asks you to come and give a day's training, that's fine. You can put that you did a 1-day training session, and that will count as one of your engagements. So there's no time specification. They ask you to tell you how long it was.
Is there
So
any
when
minimum?
Sorry?
Is there any minimum duration?
No, you could, I mean, I guess if they're all 10 minutes, they'll probably raise their eyebrows and and say, what are you doing? But I mean, you could be invited to give a 20-minute keynote. Nowadays, that's becoming more and more common. So if there are a couple of 20-minute keynotes, that wouldn't be flagged as problematic, especially if it's got a good dollar figure next to it. And I think I should stress too that they don't there's not a problem with pricing either. And I think that's important because a lot of the work that I do, I kind of evenly spread my work between corporate and not-for-profit. So I do give a lot of talks in not-for-profit groups, and some of them I will only charge $500, which is really cheap for a professional speaker. But I put that in. I was honest about what I was being paid for various things, but obviously other things, I'm charging a lot more than that because it's corporate and they've got the money to pay. So that's what I charge. So don't think, oh, just because I only charged a small amount of money, it's going to look bad and reflect badly on me. They're not worried about that. They're really looking, and particularly if it's obvious because they're not for profit. It's your decision as a professional to decide what price you put on which workshops and where you do it.
Absolutely right. Because when you read the manual, it doesn't say any minimum amount to be charged. And they also say, even if they don't pay you cash, but they arrange for example, they sponsor you, then that's also counted. And if there is a dinner, for example, they sponsor the dinner or they sponsor something or a gift, that's also counted as a paid speech. Correct?
I don't think gifts and dinners count as paid speeches. I think those would go as
Okay.
your unpaid ones. But if they give you $50 and sort of say this is towards your petrol or whatever, then that's a paid gig. Yeah.
That's clarified. Now,
Yeah.
going to the next question is, are the paid training engagements also counted as paid speaking engagement? Which is yes, right? Okay. So
Definitely.
that's the answer already answered. One question came, want to know about the 15 paid engagements. And the question is a bit wide. Want to know about the 15 engagements. I think these are 15 professional speeches which you deliver to the audience. Dale, you want to add something to that?
So the 15 paid speaking engagements are speaking, training, workshops, any of those that are delivered for any amount of time from 20 minutes to all day in any organization for which you received some form of remuneration.
Okay. I can see a hand raised, but before I go to Miral, if you allow me, let me finish my next question, then I'll come to you. The next question is, okay. Do virtual paid engagements count?
Sorry, do
virtual paid engagement. Let's say you're paid to do a workshop, but that's not person,
absolutely.
that's virtual.
Absolutely. Virtual counts 100%. And both my video submissions, the one that passed and the one that failed, were virtual workshops. So that's absolutely fine. I think the showcase, I'm not sure if they're still going to do that as virtual. That would be an interesting question to clarify. Obviously, the year that I presented in the Bahamas, you had the option of appearing virtually or going live. But my view is if someone's going to give you an audience of 800 people, why would you not go there to get it? I mean, it's just such fun. But yes, for all of your 25 speaking engagements, you could be a virtual presenter as long as it's live and as long as you can prove, as long as you're sure that there's more than 20 people on that.
So as far as the speech is concerned or your workshop is concerned, that can be live. However, if it depends on the rule of that particular year, if they announce that you can do your showcase virtually or not, that depends on the, I think, conditions of that particular term. Okay. Now we take question from Toastmaster Miral. You can unmute yourself.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, DTM Dale, for the wonderful information. I have a couple questions and I'll be quick. The first one, you said we can have workshops included. So my question, if these workshops are for individuals, because I do that a lot. So I'm being paid, but by single individuals. So does that, no, it does not
Minimum
count.
20.
Okay.
Minimum 20.
That's coaching.
Oh, yeah, it's more than 20, but it's paid by individuals, not companies.
Oh, I see what you mean. So there are 20 people in the audience, but they've each individually
Yeah, or
paid.
even
Yeah,
more.
fine.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, nobody's going to say, where did you get the money from? That's your business. No, absolutely. You've assembled through maybe advertising in a public forum or whatever. But you've gathered a group together who are willing to pay to hear you speak and get your knowledge. Definitely part of that would be
So in
considered.
this case, if I need a form, it will be from one of them.
If you needed a form, that's an interesting one.
I would recommend if you have any organization, take the form from the organization. That adds more value than
Okay.
individual. Individual will always be
Mm.
like a suspect. Okay, maybe you just ask your friend to fill the form for you. But as an organization, there is an integrity first.
Okay.
More.
And my second question yeah, you want to say something?
One thing you could do is I don't know who do you do the workshops, or maybe I should start with what's your topic? Where are you doing?
I teach something called animal communication. So I do a lot of workshops teaching people how to handle animals, how to deal with animals, how to understand their emotions. So and I do it on myself, and I'm a freelance. So I get a lot of workshops to do, but to
What a
individuals.
fascinating topic. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Look, it's been a long time, Miral, and I apologize for not being better prepared. But if you look at the client form, I'm fairly sure one of the things they'll ask is what company do you represent, and what did the person do?
So probably
What
it has.
What you could do, and it might end up being a good publicity stunt for you, is if you linked up with a vet, a veterinary clinic, and ask them to host a workshop, which they, publicly advertised for, and then you offer to give them 10% or whatever for doing the marketing, and then get them to fill out the forms. So they then become the client and the umbrella under which you're doing it.
Okay.
That
So better probably to link it to an organization in this case.
Yeah.
Okay, and my second question is about your recommendation about the video, because workshops are usually longer than an hour. So for the demo video, they recommend that I make it an event of 1 hour, so they see the whole flow, rather than take a part, right? Okay, my last quick question, the established LinkedIn or whatever, so it has to be also focused on one topic, or just the idea of you being a professional speaker, regardless of the topic? So the speciality of the speaker regarding the topic that add, I guess. So
yeah, look, I don't think you need to worry too much about, if you're speaking about a few things. I mean, if you go through my LinkedIn, you'll see that I do quite a lot. I do workshops on feedback for Toastmasters. I do I've talked about mythology. I've done DISC accreditation. So, I'm a little bit all over the place, but it's obvious that I'm running workshops
it's
all
working.
the time.
Obviously, it's working.
Well,
Okay,
it didn't
thank you
harm
so
me.
much. Thank you.
I think they just want to see whether you're really engaged in public speaking or you're only focused on certain areas. So it's just for the judges to be comfortable, nothing specific otherwise. Okay, there I think you have
Also,
done
that there's no dodgy stuff.
And does it have to be for a long time? Like your LinkedIn is established for a year, for example, or last couple of months, like the difference?
Look, again, I can't speak to saying what's in the mind of the judges, but if you're looking at going for it, I would say it's probably a 2 or 3 year process, unless you've already accumulated all these engagements and you're good to send in an application straight away. I would start building the profile and make sure.
I think it's perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Start now and get it going.
Thank you, Miraj.
But well done. What an interesting topic.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I can go to Toastmaster. Okay, DTM Mohammed Vicaruddin, please.
Thank you so much,
Your
first
question.
of all, to our program quality director, arrange such a wonderful educational session, which is make me to become as a accredited speaker. And prior to going over there, I have an idea. I don't have idea, and much I need to get into this accredited speaker program, and how we can get the idea, because I am an individual. I am mostly dealing with some cloud solution architect, and I'm a passionate Toastmasters. And how I can be as a accredited speaker, where we can get the idea. Can you share some your experience, how we can inspire to the audience, where we can engage more on this?
Dale, I think if you just hold on this for a minute, I think we have an answer for you, DTM Mohammed Vicaruddin. After this question answer, I will be presenting our plan for the coming events, and that will answer your question, if you don't mind. We thought about it already. Are you okay with that?
Thank you. You
Thank
are
you.
also my mentor, so it's okay for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now let's go to our event chair, DTM Osama Jabri. You have a question? You have raised your hand?
Of course, I have a question. If I raise my hand, means that I have a question.
Okay, of course, you're telling us yours. Yes.
Thank you
okay,
very
go ahead.
much. It is my honor to be with you, DTM Dale. We have learned a lot from you. I have a very simple question. What was your speech about when you won the accredited speaker certificate? What was about?
I spoke, so the title was The Con in Confidence. And I shared some strategies that I share with my clients around how to build their confidence and how to come across as a more confident person. But I'll be quite honest, the reason I chose that topic was I was so excited to share the Hollywood story that I had that was just such a fun story to tell. And when I went for a walk on the beach that morning, I thought, if there's one reason that the judges might fail me, it's because in terms of application to the business world, they may well consider that this doesn't have strong content value. When you go into corporates, they want solid information, not fun stories. So I thought, it's possible they're not going to like this, and they're not going to let it through. And I made peace with that. I thought, I've got 800 people who I know are going to love hearing this story, and it's fun, and that's what I'm going to do. And if I have to come back next year with something more along the lines of the stuff that I normally do in corporates, then so be it. I'll do it. But they obviously did like it. And I did get such a positive reaction from the audience. I think they almost couldn't not give it because it was clear that everyone was just having such fun with the story.
I think we are done with the question. Now, before the next step, please allow me to share something. We have a special announcement which I have not shared yet. And I told our speaker that we will not announce it till we have this workshop. And to do that, let me share my screen. Okay. Now, I have a question before I start. Do you all see my slide?
Yes.
Do you see my credit card number?
Yes, it is with me.
Oh, okay. Then I have to stop sharing. Okay. Okay, so we have put a small plan for all of you, those who are interested. We have worked out the plan. Me and Dale, we had a long discussion, and we thought this would be a best plan to go forward. So today is 12th of October. We have came with the plan of talking about the accredited speaker in journal, the application, the fee, the terms and condition. Now, Following up to this, we will have another workshop, which will be every month we have one workshop, couple of workshops will be there. The next workshop will be starting your professional speaking journey on 9th of November. Those who are part of District 20, we already have put it in our district calendar. So you will see these dates already there, but making this announcement for everyone's benefit. On 9th of November, we will discuss about the topic selection. This was just a question asked by DTM Mohammed Karuddin. So it is coming on 9th of November. So please hold on till then and you will be hearing about it. Choose your niche. I mean, what is specific issue you should be speaking about and getting to know there'll be more to about it. And then we'll have a follow-up to this workshop, which will be our next session, session 3 on 14th of December. It's few days before our National Day in Bahrain. There will be a panel discussion with our accredited speaker Dale, and the plan is to bring additional accredited speakers with us so that there will be panel discussion.
Verity's confirmed. She'll be here.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So we have Verity with us. We have DTM Dale with us. So it'll be a lot of fun, a lot of excitement. And yes, so not to be missed. Every session is very important and very excited. And then we have in January, we have not finalized that exact date yet for January, but that will be in our calendar in January. And then we will be talking about learning from others. So again, we will be looking at different videos, analyzing the videos, review the judging forms, how the judge review, just like how we do a contest and there's a judging. So there is a judging for the accredited speaker also. And then be a lot of discussion. And with this, we'll be winding up our series of accredited speaker program. And with that, I'll stop the sharing. Yeah, so with that, during this journey, if anyone is interested to know more, please reach out to me and I'll always pass the questions to accredited speaker Dale and get a lot of clarifications. We'll also try to give you a lot of inputs wherever you have any questions and doubts. And if you are interested, then we will work on special program which will basically guide you through, will mentor you through to reach there. As long as it is within this term. Next term, I'm not able to guarantee right now. So we will see what best we can do for you. Okay. And there'll be more to come in if you are specifically looking and you're interested. And then you think after some time, I need coaching, then I'm sure we will have coaches also available. And I'm sure Toastmaster Dale will be our coach. And if she agrees to it, of course, subject to her approval. I'm not committing right now anything. So with this, I think we have come to end of our session. Now I'll